If you were not from this neighborhood, Little Village was the place where the gangs were. It was the place where, oh, if I go to pick you up, my car is going to get stolen. And I mean, we're over here planning an art festival and we're talking to D-Case and we're talking to like all these orgs and they're like, Little Village? Really? Art? At the same time, we're talking to actual artists that live and grew up in the neighborhood, and they're like, yeah, I have to go exhibit in Pilsen, I have to go exhibit in Humboldt Park, I have to go outside of the community to show my work. So what we were trying to do was to bring the work to the community so that, my mom could see it, so your mom could see it, so that art could be accessible to everybody.
Laura, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for coming out today. We appreciate you making time for us.
Thank you for having me.
For those of you who may not know Laura, would you mind giving everybody at home an introduction to who you are and your mission?
Well, first of all, I hope nobody knows me because I am paranoid, but that's okay. I will power through it today. My name is Laura Nuñez. I'm a lifelong resident of the Little Village neighborhood. It is a predominantly Mexican-American neighborhood on the southwest side of Chicago. And I am one of the organizers of the Little Village Arts Festival. We just wrapped number 19 this past November 1st and 2nd, which means 2026 will be our 20th year
anniversary.
Yes.
That's incredible. I can't imagine how much effort goes into 20 years of organizing a consistent, I think at this point, foundational footing for those youth in the community who are looking for outlets where they can express themselves through those creative outlets.
Yeah, yeah. So let me just, to
rewind some 20 years.
Yeah, to rewind. So it's the summer of 2006. I came home from college. I went to USC, and I lived in Los Angeles, and I did a little bit of everything. I was a movie extra for 6 months. I was a PA. I did post-production work. I did a little bit of everything. And I come home, and my brother was working for Enlace at the time, and he said, hey, do you want to volunteer to do face painting for B-Ball on the Block? And I was like, sure. I'd never face painted before in my life. So I go and I'm face painting and I meet all these people, and we were putting away tables and stuff, and Maria Gaspar, who was I forgot what her official title was, but she was in charge of all the arts programming. She said to me, hey, we're organizing an art festival. Do you want to help? And I said, sure. And a month later, we had the first Little Village Arts Festival. And so Maria and her crew, they approached business owners along 26th Street and said, hey, you have an empty storefront. Let us turn it into a pop-up gallery. We'll, let us take it over for a week. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what they did. And we just did it again and again and again. And I mean, some of us have gone on to have kids. Some of us have gone to grad school.
I love that this was something that became extended to the community. Something
it did.
That you guys were able to incorporate the community into this massive project that you guys undertook. In those first few years, what were the things that you guys wanted to have the focal point of the festival be, and something that you guys wanted to make evident?
So honestly, at the time, way back then, Little Village was, if you were not from this neighborhood, Little Village was the place where the gangs were. Mm-hmm. It was the place where, oh, if I go to pick you up, my car is going to get stolen. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we're over here planning an art festival and we're talking to D-Case and we're talking to like all these orgs and they're like, Little Village? Really? Art? At the same time, we're talking to actual artists that live and grew up in the neighborhood and they're like, "Yeah, I have to go exhibit in Pilsen, I have to go exhibit in Humboldt Park, I have to go outside of the community to show my work." So what we were trying to do was to bring the work to the community so that, my mom could see it, so your mom could see it, so that art could be accessible to everybody. And an interesting side effect of all of this was that we ended up educating the community about a career in art. Because literally, like, they would like walk into the gallery and are like, "Well, who made this?" And like, "Well, youth from the community made it." What do you mean youth from the community made this? Yes, youth from the community made this. And they're like, "Ay, mi hijo nomás se pasa todo el día jugando juegos, da 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 da." And they're like, "Señora, if your son really likes video games, he could become a video game designer. He could become a
Yes.
programmer. He could become an animator." And you just see the light bulb of like, what?
I think, to an extent, there's part of the conversation is with not having these established spaces where we can,
Exactly.
highlight this and actually make people understand that no, this is a viable pathway for somebody
Exactly.
who, if they want to say like this is what I like doing with my life and with my time, then why can't I make a life out of this?
Absolutely. And then a few years later, Villapalooza popped up because they were like, "We see your art festival. We raise you a music festival." And your locali, they've been around since the mid 90s. But it was around that time that they moved to the Boys and Girls Club, and now they have their beautiful firehouse facility. I am
Yes.
so jealous. It is so
It's a beautiful
beautiful.
facility.
It's a beautiful space. But yeah, like that's what we've been able to see over the course of these 20 years is the change from what? Art in Little Village to absolutely there's art in Little Village. Absolutely there's community orgs. Absolutely, youth can come out of this neighborhood and get an MFA.
What would you say were some of like the initial pushbacks? Because I could imagine with undertaking something so massive like that to kind of introduce this idea to the community, going back to some of like the oh no mi mijo, I can imagine there being pushback from certain community members who don't see maybe the value in I think investing in the arts and investing in those positive outlets for our community members.
So I was going to say there wasn't any pushback, and then you said the magic word invest. Um, yeah, everybody loves art. Everybody wants art. Everybody wants us to connect them with a muralist to paint a mural on their side of their building. Everybody wants us to do a pop-up show. But who's going to pay the muralist?
It's always
Who's
a dollar
going to
amount.
pay for the scaffolding?
That's typically when somebody's like, I think I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be
Who's
back.
going to pay $3,000 rent for a space that will be a permanent art gallery? Like that that is the rub. That has always been the rub. It's always going to be the rub. Right now, we're in an okay place thanks to grants, but that's because those grants were funded by the state of Illinois, by the city of Chicago. So I don't know what's going to happen in 2026 with the way that things are.
It's difficult to say with the way that
It's
everything's
very
going.
difficult. So my goal right now is to just get through 2026.
Do you feel like are there connections that you can make with like everything being kind of up in the air right now, and then also in those first few initial years, kind of learning to navigate everything and kind of not knowing?
Yes and no. Yes and no. It's similar in the sense of I'm regularly, talking to people and connecting with people and following up on ideas and trying to get projects through to fruition. But the the big difference is with the way that things are right now. People are scared. Artists are scared. I mean, when we started planning our most recent festival, we're like, great, let's talk to business owners, let's fill out some grant applications. This is going to be great. And then I start getting phone calls of, Laura, I cannot participate because I don't feel safe. Laura, our venue cannot participate because we don't want the responsibility of throwing an event that becomes an opportunity for people to get taken.
How do you how do you respond initially to concerns like that? Because absolutely, I can imagine over the span of 20 plus years, you have probably a run in with every kind of problem that you can imagine when it comes to organizing something like this. But then to encounter something like this in this current
Yeah,
climate,
no.
this is something I would imagine it hasn't been.
Um, I mean, at first I was like, "Hey, I get it. You're scared. I understand." And then when it became like two people telling me that, three people telling me that, like four and five people telling me that, that's when I was like, all right, I need to talk to Violence Prevention Collaborative and like tell them like what's going on, like what could I do. I attended a seminar that was thrown on by lawyers for the creative arts. I contacted the chamber, I contacted the alderman's office, and they're like, we're in the same boat that you are. And I'm over here like, where are the attorneys? Where are the attorneys? Which was very ironic for me because when I told my parents that I wanted to go to film school, they were like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward to me sitting in the auditorium at Curie High School, listening to the rapid response training, thinking, I should have gone to law school because what I'm doing is useless. What I'm doing
I would
is
concur.
useless.
I would
And
concur, and
all these kids that were like, yes, mom and dad, like, I'm going to do the good immigrant kid thing and go to law school.
mhm.
I'm they are who we need right now.
But I think there, to that point, I think there definitely should be space to be held for the arts, and definitely, I think
Oh,
with the 20th anniversary, I think how like impactful is the timing of the 20th anniversary with
yes.
everything that's going on right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. But how will we be able to celebrate
Mm.
if it's more dangerous than it was this past year? How like how are we going to be able to create a safe space for the community to come out? How are going to be able to make the artists feel comfortable enough
Mm-hmm.
to create work, to exhibit their work, to invite their families come out and watch this, come out and see this if it's fourfold what it was two weeks ago.
Right, absolutely. That being said, what do you think makes a safe space for the arts for somebody in the community to come out and participate maybe as an artist, participate as a community member, as whether it's somebody who's picking up a brush for the first time or
Mm-hmm.
somebody who is actually stopping to look at a painting for the first time in their life. What do you think is important in creating that safe space for people?
I think the most important thing for each and every one of us to do, regardless of our skill level, regardless of our interest, of our proficiency, is to be part of the community, to keep our eyes open, to observe, to report, to support each and every one of us, because the more of us that are out there just buying groceries, the more of us that are, you know, just out and about, the safer it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because the worst of it would happen when there was no one on the street. So if everyone's out there, right? If everyone's talking, if everyone's on social media shining a light on what's going on, that that will make us safer, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree. Would you say that? Do you feel with everything going on now, is there this like sense of added, maybe gravity to the responsibilities that pertain to, especially going into this 20th year, putting together the festival and maybe taking everything else into consideration now?
Um, yes, for a variety of reasons. Because I mean, on top of that, I mean, I I take care of my elderly parents. So as much as I want to be focused on, all right, we have to do fundraising, we have to do grant writing, I have to have a meeting with this person, I have to have a meeting with like this person. I also have to go, okay, is my mom safe on is my mom up to date on her medications? Is my dad up to date? You know, I like all that stuff. Just the responsibilities of just being a person, you know, because as much as I've been saying for all these 20 years that art is not a privilege, now with everything that's going on, I'm like, it kind of is a luxury. Like when you're worried about your own safety, like it kind of does become a luxury, but it's a luxury that some of us can afford. You know, I was born here, so I can do it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and hopefully that gives somebody else the room to go, you know what, like I'm going to do it too. And before you know it, we're all going to be doing it. And before you know it, it's going to be 2028 and someone else is going to be in charge.
I love that because I think it touches up on the idea that over the 20 plus years that you have been able to bring this beautiful festival into the community, how many people have been impacted by the work that you guys do, and how many artists have come out of all the work that you guys do, how many artists you have inspired to pick up that paintbrush, pick up that crayon, that color pencil, whatever it may be. How do you feel the youth that you work with in the community have been impacted by this over the course of the last 20 years?
So, I cannot take any credit because I do not work directly with like any youth. You know, that definitely goes to Vanessa and her crew at Yolocali. They're the ones that are like hands on with them. I know that some of the youth that she's worked with are now teachers, are now like part of her program as like instructors and have gone on. But what I can say that I have experienced is um it was opening night. I can't tell you what year it was. And one of the exhibiting artists comes up to me and shows me her work, and it was these buttons. And I go, "Oh, yeah, those are really cute buttons." And she goes, "Oh, which one? Which one do you like?" And I go, "Oh, that one." She goes, "Oh, well, take it." I'm like, "Oh, well, how much is it?" And she says, "Oh, no, 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 take it. It's yours." I go, "No, I have to give you something." And she goes, "No, Laura, you don't understand. You sold my first piece of artwork. Like, I'm giving this to you as a thank you." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's telling me that the year before, at opening night, she was an exhibiting artist. And I had walked up to her and said, "Hey, is this your piece? Someone wants to buy it. Like, go and like arrange the sale." And her name is Claudia, and she's now an artist. She's part of Villapalooza. She's amazing. She actually was in charge of organizing our vendor space this year at the festival.
Love that.
So seeing that, I was like tears, like, oh my god, like
Do those
that's
full
why you do
circle
it.
do those full circle moments give you life and maybe the
Absolutely,
hardships and those moments where you maybe have like second guesses or doubts?
absolutely, absolutely, because that is why you do it. You know, because 20 years ago, I thought I was the only kid in Little Village that read comic books and liked horror movies. And just saying that out loud now sounds idiotic. You're like, what are you talking about? And yet that's how I felt. And today it's like, no, 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 no. We're everybody's a nerd. Everybody's into like their own thing, and everybody has the room to express themselves.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
hopefully they've got parents that are like, yes, you can pursue this dream. We will support you pursuing this, even if it's not the medical field or the legal field or
I think the
science.
world needs a little bit of everything, right? We have plenty
I
of
think so
doctors and
too.
electricians and
E-
pilots, and we need a good fair share of maybe
I'm
artists.
actually gonna quibble with you on the electricians because people are getting older and
Yes, we
like
can
we like do
always
need more folks in the
keep investing in the
trades.
trades,
We
absolutely.
need more folks in the trades, but thankfully like every org in the neighborhood is doing their part. I mean, Food Hero has that culinary program. I want to say that Central State Said has like some sort of a trade program, some sort of like
We
a
do.
green jobs program, maybe.
We absolutely. We have our CEJA program. It's a clean energy program that works with training individuals who can then go on to have certifications that will then have them have an appropriate kind of launch point, so to say, to get into this industry that maybe beforehand they wouldn't have had an opportunity to break into, so to say.
Exactly, and we're all doing it, and it's all achievable now. 20
Absolutely.
years ago, it wasn't.
How do you feel like with the 20 years that you guys have been doing the festival, like over the course of the years, how do you feel that the momentum carried forward? Was it something that you saw happen initially, or was it something that took a while to build up with the community coming in and maybe apoyando and supporting in their part however they could?
It definitely grew and grew, and it just sort of like comes in waves,
Hmm.
because you've got the people that hear about us for the first time and they're like, oh, I'm so excited, this is wonderful and I want to be involved. You've got the people who are like, oh yes, I know you, that's cool, just whatever you want, like just say the word, and then in between there you just, yeah, just everybody just puts in their little, and honestly I'm not sure who I'm more thankful for, the people that are super duper excited or the people that are chill and like, yeah, no, like, we got you, don't worry, we're like, yeah,
Do
we're
you do
good.
you feel like you guys have anything planned specifically for the 20th anniversary? Is there anything in particular that you guys want to highlight and emphasize for this 20th year?
So nothing is concrete yet as of, where are we? As of November 21st, nothing is concrete. The plan is to have smaller events, maybe like one pop up gallery, maybe, one day of a vendor market,
Mm-hmm.
one day of a workshop just like sprinkled in. I'm definitely looking forward to doing more collaborations with groups in the community, like having a table, whether it's at Mercado de Colores or at Villapalooza or at Esquina if they open. I'm crossing my fingers that you will soon.
Primeramente.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to those opportunities, um, to move forward and to see where we end up next November. Ask me how I feel next
I will want to
November.
have you back next November, absolutely, for sure. How do you feel just about everything, I think, in terms of the organization of the festival, and how does how far back does something like that start for you guys?
That's a great question. So the first 10 years or so of the festival, planning would start maybe 2 months in advance.
Hmm.
Maybe. And now, I mean, yeah, last year, yeah, no, planning started like 6 months in advance. This year, planning started like 6 months in advance. Um, so yeah. It's our needs change, the community has changed, because now it's not just, oh, how do I get a business owner to let me use their storefront? Now it's, I gotta make sure the artists are available because they might be doing a residency in New Mexico.
That's incredible to think about because for me, I feel like, would you say the has the artist changed to a degree over the course of the years with the festival in terms of like just thinking about like now you're at a point where the platform that you're able to provide for artists or artists who can maybe have a residency in New Mexico, whereas year one, year two, maybe they were still local community artists who haven't had an opportunity to have a residency anywhere.
Right. So, Maria Gaspar, who founded the festival, I mean, she has gone on to do work internationally. She's currently doing a piece that involves what's the word, that involves like prisons, but like I don't want to say prisons, but like that's what it involves. And it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. And I reached out to her. I said, "Hey, how does your 2026 look?" So it's a good problem to have that artists from the community have to be booked that far in advance, that they're that busy, that they're that in demand, that, oh, I'm doing a guest lecture somewhere. Like, I'm not going to be in town. Sorry. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, don't be sorry. I'm glad for your success. So it's a good problem to have.
It is. I think definitely on the flip side of it, as somebody who would be coming into a space as a viewer, it would feel, I think, somewhat of a privilege to be able to share that space and say, like, I'm getting an opportunity to witness somebody's art when they were just, in like New Mexico or this other part of the world, and now they're here.
Yep.
And I get to take space and witness this and share that with them. So I think that's wonderful. To wrap this up and to take this home, Laura, for anybody at home who might have interest in being a part of this project, volunteering, helping out in any capacity, what can somebody to do to help out?
They can email us at viartechicago@gmail.com. They can find us on Instagram and follow us. We're at viartechicago. They can send us a direct message telling us what they're interested in. They can go to our website, which is viartechicago.org. They can make a donation. And they can, yeah, shoot me an email and say, hey, I love what you're doing. Here's $10,000.
And it has to be $10,000.
It
We're not
has to
accepting
be.
anything less.
It has to be
Minimum
$10,000
donations start at 10,000.
because one of our goals for this coming year is to have a permanent gallery space, because right now we don't have a permanent gallery space. We just get by on the goodwill of the business owners of Little Village. And so I would love to be able to say it's the grand opening of the Viarte Gallery, but in order to do that, you need to pay for rent.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, yeah.
I am hopeful that, considering where you guys are after 20 years, that in another 20 plus years, something like this will be already established for you guys, by you guys. I have high hopes that the work that you guys do is going to keep, pouring that love and light into the community. And I just, again, want to thank you for coming out today and sharing some of your time.
Thank you for having me. I hope what I said makes sense.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.